Alright, let me paint you a little picture. You just finished Baywatch. You saw Zac Efron jump in from those little hoops on that obstacle course. You saw his veins popping out, his rock hard abs. You see a girlfriend next to you just staring at her like she's never looked at you before. And then you're like, that's gonna be me. You start hitting the gym every day. You Google, what does Zac Efron do to look like that in Baywatch? And you follow that. You do that for a week, for months, and almost no change. And then you ask yourself, what's the point? My genetics are holding me back. And that's what I'm here to talk about. Well, to be fair, I'm not gonna go into the entire science of genetics because I don't know if anyone really has those answers. I certainly do not. I can definitely link a bunch of videos of people who have made YouTube videos about that are probably more qualified than me to talk about the ins and outs of genetics. But let me tell you a little story from my eyes. Well, first, I think we need to get some kind of definition to talk about what constitutes genetics in terms of working out or training. Right, so the first thing to consider are structural things, such as your skeletal proportions and your muscle insertions. And the second thing is responsiveness to training. So for number one, right, let's look at this picture. Look at these two strikingly handsome gentlemen. And you'll see that they both look very different, right? Their physiques look very different. You see the first one on the left, very compact looking, kind of like a smaller torso. On the right, more flatter looking, longer torso, and a lot of other nuances that you can easily see. So, firstly, pause the video, just take a quick guess of who you think is heavier, right? Between the two. Unpause. And I'll tell you, the person on the right is actually heavier by about 5 pounds at the time of this picture, right? So you wouldn't really assume that, but based on genetics, people just store muscle and everything in different areas. People's limbs are different and all that, so they just end up looking very differently. So that's the structural thing about genetics. So both of them are actually brothers too. If two brothers can have that drastically different structural components, from genetics, just think how much it can vary from person to person, who are not related or from different countries and all that. And the second thing is responsiveness to training, which I won't really get into, but I will link a study that just shows how much it can vary, right? The same two people that do the same workouts, same variables, can have drastically different results. So yes, genetics are a big factor in training, and I think the second thing, responsiveness to training, is definitely what people are probably worried about more. Like the first one, yes, people kind of aren't happy with their structural things, maybe they want something different, but at the end of the day, if you have muscle, right? But the second thing is, if your responsiveness to training is just lackluster, that you just can't build muscle, that's what's really frustrating. So I'll kind of go into that one a little bit more. So firstly, I think my genetics are pretty bad all around. I'm not the happiest with my structural components. I think I store fat in areas that aren't very flattering, and overall I don't think I'm blessed with great structural components, but it is what it is. I make the most of it. But the second of all, I think my responsiveness to training is also very poor. I've been working out for about 7 years now, religiously, right? That's one thing I fell in love with, and yes, I will admit, my workouts aren't the most meticulous. My diet hasn't been the most meticulous. That being said, I've gone pretty much 5 to 6 times for about 7 years now, and I barely ever take a break unless I'm sick. Even on vacation, I kind of keep it going, right? But I think my gains have really, really stalled after the first couple of years. And I'll be fair, I do think a lot of it is because my training hasn't been as meticulous as it could be, but I personally am the first person to say, yes, it's my genetics. I just can't really put on that much more muscle. I could be in a lean building phase for a few months, a year, and I go slow. I don't put on that much weight, but the proportion of fat to muscle is pretty high, like a lot of fat. So that's just what I think. I will say, I don't think it's fair for me to say that about genetics just yet. I think I need to put it to test before I can do that, right? So I am going on a journey, and I want you guys to join me. I am going to go into a lean building phase for, we'll see how long, and I'm going to just be very meticulous with my workouts. I'll go on a proper program, which I haven't done in years, a power building program that's vetted by experts, and I'm going to do that meticulously. I'm going to eat very, very well, and I'm going to share that all with you guys, so you guys are going to be in the loop as well. Accountability, and we'll see what I do. And like, if I truly don't really make the gains that I should, right, or you'd expect that other people are doing, then I think we have to attribute it to genetics. But regardless, we're not going to get some concrete results to say, oh yes, genetics play, a 4.5% factor in responsiveness to training, or whatever I'm blabbering, right? But I think it'll be cool little experiment, and I think you guys would love to see what's under the hood, take a peek, and it'll be fun. But before that, I actually do want to lean out, have a real lean base before we get into this phase. So I'll probably do like roughly a month diet before we get there. So I'm gonna show you guys that as well, and I think it'll be super cool. So recently I actually just got my body fat and all that checked, right, at the gym that I just joined. So I stepped on this machine and we got everything checked, and my body fat percentages and all that. So let me actually show you what they are. So here it is. This is what I did in body test, and I'll flash it up on the screen for you as I read it off. So my total body water is 92.4 pounds. Don't know what that means exactly. I don't think it matters. My dry lean mass is 33.1. Body fat mass 22.6. Weight is 148. I'm not going to count that as my starting weight. I'm actually going to step on the scale on day 1 in the morning. That'll be my starting weight, because in this scan I was wearing clothes and it wasn't first thing in the morning, so I had water and all that kind of stuff. But I think what's more interesting is the body fat percentage, right? So 15.2%, as you can see. Body fat mass 22.6 pounds. BMI 23.9, whatever these things mean, just interesting to know. I will do my diet for about 4 weeks, and then after the diet we will see where we end up, and it'll be cool to compare. So I'm starting 2 series. Series number 1 is my diet, so it's about a month, give or take, and I will show you day to day what goes on, how I get there. And the second series will be my long journey of my bulk, see how much muscle I can put on, and I will document all these things very meticulously for the people. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. This is just to set the stage. Give this video a like if you want to support me. Please subscribe, it means a lot, and I will see you in the next one.